So I'm just speaking for 30 or 40 seconds to see if the sound is okay, and you can just instantly respond on the thread and I'll know.
It is, nobody is viewing still. Now it has come. Zero.
So I'm just waiting for any response to come to see if the sound is good or not. Yesterday the sound wasn't working to begin with, so now you can hear me. Okay, thank you so much. Makes it a lot more. I feel confident that people can hear. Yesterday we sang the whole kirtan, and nobody heard. So, thank you, thank you, thank you. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Oh Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Nityananda Rai, 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 Nityananda Rai, Nityananda. Oh Nitai Hey, Nitai Hey, Nitai Hey, Nitai Hey, Nitai Hey, Nitai Hey. Jaya Sachi Nandan Jaya Gaura Hare, Sachi Nandan Jaya Gaura Hare, Jaya Sachi Nandan Jaya Gaura Hare, Sachi Nandan Jaya Gaura Hare. Gaura He, Gaura He, Gaura He, Gaura He, Gaura He, Gaura He, Gaura He. Oh Jaya Radha, Madana Mohan Radha, Madana Mohan Radhe, Radha Madana Mohan Radha, Madana Mohan Radhe. Jaya Radha, Govinda Radha, Govinda Radhe. Jaya Radha, Govinda Radha, Govinda Radhe. Jaya Radha, Gopinata Radha, Gopinata Radhe. Jaya Radha, Gopinata Radha, Gopinata Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. Oh Jaya Vrishabhanu Nandini Radhe Radhe, Vrishabhanu Nandini Radhe Radhe, Jaya Vrishabhanu Nandini Radhe Radhe, Vrishabhanu Nandini Radhe Radhe. Oh Radhe, 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 Radhe. Jai Shri Shri Guru Garanga Ganhavika Giridhari Radha Madan Mohan Ju Ki Jai, Jai Radha Govinda Ju Ki Jai, Jai Radha Gopinath Ju Ki Jai, Shrimati Radharani Brishabhana Nandini Vajeshwari Ki Jai, Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astotar Sarshi Shimad, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astotar Sarshi Shimad, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astotar Sarshi Shimad, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai, Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astotar Sarshi Shimad, Srila Mahabhagavat Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai, Jai Saptam Goswami Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai, Jai Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Jai
Jai.
Shil Baladevi Dibhushan Gaudi Acharya ki jai. Shil
Jai.
Vishnath Chakravarti Thakur ki jai.
Jai.
Jai Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Traya ki jai.
Jai.
Shil Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami ki jai.
Jai.
Shri Rup Sanatan, Shri Bhatta Raghunath, Shri Jiva Gopal, Bharadasa Raghunath Sad Goswami Prabhu's ki jai.
Jai.
Jai Swarab Damodar Rai Ramananda Gaura Parsada ki jai.
Jai.
Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai.
Mm.
Prem Se Gahol Se Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
Jai.
Shri Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Shama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhana ki jai.
Jai.
Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Navadvip Dham ki jai. Ganga Jamuna ki jai. Brihat Mridanga ki jai. Sankirtan Yagya ki jai. Nam Bhajan ki jai. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra ki jai. Nishingadev Bhagavan ki jai. Anantakota Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Gaur Premanandi
Hari Hari.
Bol. Om Agina Timirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmaya Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Gauda Chandraya Radhikaya Taralaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarabhaktaya Namo Namaha Yam Prabhajantamana Petyam Apetykrityam Dvaipayano Viraha Katara Ajuhava Putreti tam mayatayo taravo benedus tam sarvabhutam hridim munimanatoshmi bhaktya vihina aparada lakshay shiptascha karmadi tarangamadye kripamai tvam sharanam prapana vrinde namaste charanada vindam Vajami radham aravinda netram smarami radham madhurashmitasyam Vadami radham karanaparadam tato mamanasti katyena kapi Tavaivasmi najivami tvaivina iti vignaya radhe tvam nayamam charanantikam. I'm first of all offering millions and millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of my beloved Gurudev. Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarazara Shishimad Shila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And the same again unto our beloved Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarazara Shishimad Shila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Shila Prabhupada. And unto our beloved Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchitananda Namane Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanugavarayate Shila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai, and all the Vaishnav and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, my Dandavat pranams to all of you. Hare Krishna. So everything's okay. So I hope you've all had a satisfying 2 days festival with Janmashtami and Nandotsav, and now we'll come back to our Jaiva Dharma study and continue where we'd left off previously. Where were we up to? Last 6? Last 5, I think? Yes.
Jaiva Dharma Pate se Shuddha Bhakti hoy. Jaiva Dharma Padile Prabhu Bhakti noy. One who reads a Jaiva Dharma with faithful deliberation will surely attain Shuddha Bhakti. But one who does not read a Jaiva Dharma can never attain Bhakti.
This is the truth. This compilation of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur contains all the essential teachings of Sachinandan Gaurahari, Mahaprabhu, specifically. Srimad Bhagavatam is there directing us towards Krishna. But if we are intending to go towards Braja Prem, we need the mercy and instructions of Mahaprabhu. Srila Sridhar Swami, the great commentator of Srimad Bhagavatam, he says that wherever the word Prem is written, it must be connected with Mahaprabhu. It must have come from Mahaprabhu, because prior to Mahaprabhu, there was this, the Prem that was mentioned. It was not of the Madhurya. Krishna appeared with his parikars in Vrindavan and exhibited all the speciality and sweetness of Madhurya. But prior to that, that conception was not there. And then after Krishna left, who could understand what activities Krishna performed in Braj? It was only with the advent of Mahaprabhu that these Vrindavan pastimes were fully opened out. Parakya ras, which is the principal ingredient to understand what is Unnata Ujvala ras. Without knowing the dynamics of Parakya ras, then Ujvala ras has no platform. There's no place for it. It can't exist. The speciality of Parakya ras, the dynamic of Parakya ras, is so essential for the highest loving conceptions to manifest. And these instructions or these teachings are only opened by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Not even Mother Yashoda understood that Krishna was going into the forest with all the gopis every night. So how could anybody else? We know in the Bhagavatam, in the 8th chapter of the first canto, Queen Kunti is saying she's bewildered even that Mother Yashoda is binding her son. So these are eternal parikas, but of the Aishwarya mood. So this Madhurya mood is only opened and broadcast by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So therefore what Sridhar Swami is saying, that prem, this mood of prem, has to be connected with Mahaprabhu. So unless this line is fully authorized, we can say, coming from Mahaprabhu. And what is the authorization of this line coming from Mahaprabhu? It's Srimati Radhika. All of her maidservants constitute this Guru Vargya that we have the great fortune to sit in, coming from Rupa Goswami, Rupa Manjari, etc., all the way down our line. It's all emanating from the affection and magnificent love that Radha has for Krishna. It's an exhibition of her love that this line is manifest. It's an exhibition of her compassion that this line is manifesting. This current, this flow is coming into this world because of Sri Radhika. Mahaprabhu is Krishna directly. His Swarup is Krishna, but he's taken the Kanti and Bhav of Sri Radhika. So it's because of Radha that Mahaprabhu has advented. And it's because of Radha that this line is manifesting. So it's all emanating from the compassion of Radha for the conditioned souls in the darkest age of Kali. We've discussed before how in the previous ages, there's many practices of like severe austerity, sitting in a circle of fire in summertime, submerging ourselves in water in a river, ice cold in wintertime, etc. And what is the fruit of all those austerities? Parameshwara, Yogeshwara, these Aishwarya conceptions of Krishna. This is Vaikuntanath. These are the conceptions. These are the avatars during Satya Yuga. Matsya avatar, etc. All of these persons, Nrsingadev, these, none of them, they all are Krishna directly. But just like when we see the moon, we sometimes see a half moon, a quarter moon, etc. Only Brajendranandan, Ete Kamsa Kalapumsam, Krishna Stu Bhagavan Sayam. It's only Krishna who is that supreme Purnima, that supreme moon. And when he came to relish his own Leelas. He's Leela Purushottam. But the world saw him on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. The world saw him defeating so many demons, relieving Mother Earth. We discussed Janmashtami time. This is what Krishna does for Mother Earth. Krishna's not giving Krishna prem, but only Mahaprabhu's pastimes. When we see Mahaprabhu in the Gambhira, in Puri, what is he experiencing? That separation, that vipralamba, so intense. And it's described clearly by Krishna's Kaviraj, in particular, his vipralamba moods. And these have never been exhibited anywhere before, ever, 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 by anybody. No one has exhibited those sattvika bhavs that he exhibited. He just completely shocked. All his parikars were shocked. Swarupa Damodar, Rai Ramananda, they saw his form like a tortoise, or like when they pulled him out of the ocean. They were so disturbed to see him in that condition. This had never, ever been exhibited before. And we are the recipients of that now. So we can appreciate how special, how mystically unbelievable is this particular time in history for humanity, that these truths are descending so rapidly. We have all these mobile phones, we have all this technology and everything, and it's just everywhere. The accessibility of Braja Prem everywhere. You can probably hear 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 classes in a single day on Braj Prem on the internet. It's spinning around, and it's during the most afflicted time of this age, when things are becoming most oppressive. We have this opportunity. So everything is coming from Mahaprabhu completely. So this Jaiva Dharma captures the ontological truths that Mahaprabhu presented, more so than the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam has all these truths, but they're not so explicitly revealed. It's there, but you need the commentators to pull it out and present it, like when you get Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, for example, and you read his commentaries on the Bhagavatam. He will go for so many pages, even chapters, not even mention the word Braja Prem, but then at the slightest opportunity, he'll jump on it and start describing Braja Prem. That's what he wants to do. But there's a process to actually access this, and that is purification. And it's the chanting which gives us the fastest. And this is the gift of Mahaprabhu also. That holy name was there before. We were talking the other day. The holy name was there, but it was not empowered in the same way that it's empowered now. It's empowered. What is the empowerment? To take us into Braja Prem. That is the empowerment.
Rupanuga Abhiman Pathe Drida Hoy, Jaiva Dharma Vimukha Ke Dharma Hi Na Koi. Faithfully reading Jaiva Dharma will surely strengthen one's Abhiman as Rupanuga.
That's the point. As a Rupanuga. Without being a Rupanuga, there's no access to this jewel of Unnata Ujjvala Prem, of service to Unnata Ujjvala Prem. What's that?
Swabhakti Shriyam.
Swa Bhakti Shriyam. Swa Bhakti. What is Swa? Krishna's own Bhakti is Radha. And Shriyam is the beauty of Radha. And the beauty of Radha is within her maidservants, particularly the Manjaris, who are all emanating from her body. They're all Kaya Vyuha of Radhika. So all these personalities, they're all manifesting directly from Sri Radhika. So Sri Radhika is really the personality who's bestowing the most mercy through Krishna, through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all the Manjaris.
One who is averse to reading Jaiva Dharma is certainly devoid of religious principles.
Java Jivane Jay
Pade Jaiva Dharma Bhakti Manase Janavrita Jnana Karma. One who faithfully reads a Jaiva Dharma throughout his entire life will be endowed with bhakti and will surely realize the futility of Gyan and Karma.
Previously, when Vyasadeva was compiling his Bhagavatam and Narad was chastising him and came, Vyasadeva was feeling despondency. And Narad was saying, you have written so many scriptures, but putting Gyan Kand prominently, putting Karma Kand prominently. And you've mentioned devotional service, but you've also written so many Puranas, and they've also supported Gyan Kand and Karma Kand, moksha, as being the goal. All the rishis and saints previously, they all considered that liberation from this material world is the supreme purusartha. They hadn't considered this prem conception. They didn't have access to it. Because Vedavyas previously in the Puranas, etc., before he had the Vasya, the trance given by Narad to actually see the 10th canto, then he didn't understand. He's a Shaktivesh avatar, but nevertheless, these pastimes are very confidential. Krishna's selective pastimes, Venu Geet, Brahmara Geet, Gopi Geet, Pranaya Geet, Yugal Geet, Viraha Geet. These Geets in the Bhagavatam are so heart transforming. So Vedavyas had to have this gift of the trance from Narad to, and then who can actually understand these? Because this Bhagavatam was compiled 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 years ago. Orally, it was spoken 5,000 years ago, but it actually came into writing like 3,000 years ago. Before that, they didn't need writing. They would just have it oral reception. And then when it came into the written form, who understood still the precepts of Parakya Ras? We've said many times how Jaidev Goswami, the most esoteric poet, he couldn't write that verse, Smaragarala Kandana, Mama Sirasi Nandana, Deida Parapalapam Adaram. He couldn't write it because his heart was trembling too much. His pen was trembling. Krishna, my supreme Lord, is bowing his head with his peacock feather and flute at the lotus feet of Sri Radhika. Oh, I cannot write this. I'll go to the Ganga, take bath. And then Krishna comes impersonating Jaidev and writes that verse himself. When he comes back, Jaidev Goswami, he's shocked. He can see the beautiful script of Krishna directly on his page. But he couldn't have, and he is such an esoteric, mystical personality. What, in the 13th century? Jaidev Goswami. So where is Parakya Ras described? It's not. Hardly at all. And who would understand it even if it was described? Who would make it sufficiently popular for people to feel comfortable with that concept? It's a huge concept that Krishna is dancing with other men. This goes right against the grain of everything that Lord Ram taught us. Lord Ram is Maryat Purushottam. He's teaching us how you should have one wife, etc., the example of Sita, everything. He's teaching us Maryat. And now here comes Krishna, who's a thief. He lies. He does all these debauched activities. He dances with millions of married women in the middle of the night. Who is going to understand this? How is this conception going to translate into people's moral consciousness? That earthly morality has to be purified. It's beyond that. It's actually the same as the verse, Sarva Dharma Parityaja Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. I mean, Krishna says it himself in Bhagavad Gita, but who could understand that? Everyone just thinks this is just meaning leave the material dharmas behind. But it does mean leave the material dharmas behind completely. But who could understand without Mahaprabhu? Krishna Ramala Seva Labi Senara Seva Sukhe Magna Raha Sada Krishna Para.
Such a man, being fully devoted to Shri Radha Krishna Yugal Kishore, and having attained their Amal Prem Seva, remains forever merged in the bliss of such immaculate loving service.
This is the conclusion of this Jaiva Dharma. If any of you want to jump ahead, you can read the 38th chapter. There is the Astakalya Leela spoken by Shivji and Brinda Devi to Narad. All of the Astakalya Leela is there. In the 40th chapter, Vijay Kumar, he's absorbing these Ekadash Bhavs. He's absorbing all of the aspects of internal meditation that he's been taught, and he comes to the state of consciousness of complete Babaji, and he's fully immersed in his meditation on the eightfold pastimes of the day. This is the conclusion of where we're going here. So it's a journey. It's an incredible journey going through this Jaiva Dharma. But this is where it's leading us. If you know what is the goal and where we're going, then it'll be so much more relishable along the way. Especially, hopefully, many of you will have listened to it or listened to the narration or whatever, and be familiar with where we're going here. But it's a journey. And now we're just unpacking it slowly as we go along. So towards the end of the 19th chapter now, and this 19th chapter has discussed many aspects of sadhan bhakti. It's discussed what is anya vilasita shunyam, kriti sadhya bhavet sadhya bhav,
Kleshagni.
huh?
Kleshagni.
Kleshagni shubhada mokshalabhata krit. It's discussed all these different aspects of sadhan bhakti, but all focused on bhav bhakti. This has been the principle. This is what this chapter is saying. Yes, we have our sadhan bhakti, but unless that sadhan bhakti is focused on bhav bhakti, then I've said so many times, my Gurudev has said so many times, this sadhan is zero, because then where else is it focused? On some type of material liberation, moksha, mukti. So we've had 2 days away from here.
It is Navavida Bhakti also we discussed.
Yes, we're just coming now into fully description of Navada Bhakti. This is what we're just entering here now. So that will be the complete sadhan discussed. All the limbs of bhakti, the stages of the characteristics of bhakti, and what is bhakti initially. This verse, Anyabilasita Sunyam, is paramount. So these are the jewels that we're mining from this particular chapter, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur is opening us up for it. So we're on page 447, I believe.
No, 446 at the end.
446.
What is the difference between Naam and Mantra?
Okay, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, Brajana, go ahead.
Brajanath, what is the difference between Naam and Mantra?
So
Babaji.
wait a minute. So now, Naam and Mantra. So there are Gayatri mantras, etc. There are all so many types of mantras we can chant in the various yagyas and so on. There's mantras to Varuna Dev, there's mantras to Surya Dev, there's mantras to all the Panchopasana personalities, there's mantras for everything, right? So mantra is very, very, very powerful because it's the authorized sound vibration for a particular occasion. But the Naam, this is something exceptional. This is what Mahaprabhu has come to give.
Babaji, Sri Hari's name is the life and soul of mantra.
Okay, so just in one sentence we have it. Sri Hari is the life and soul of mantra.
The rishis have added words such as Namaha, obeisances to Sri Hari Nam, and disclosed its specific power. Sri Hari Nam by nature has nothing to do with this material world.
That's the point to appreciate. Nothing to do with this material. It's an internal appreciation. We will vibrate it externally to wake the people up to become internally appreciating their fortune inside.
Whereas the jiva, because of various bodily designations provided by Maya,
How beautiful he describes it. Various bodily
designations,
designations provided by Maya.
is entrapped by objects consisting of dead matter.
Ah, how unfortunate for the intelligent jiva to be trapped by dead matter in the form of all these material attachments.
Consequently, in order to detach the jiva's mind from sense objects, different principles of archan have been established on the path of regulated devotional service, Maryada Marg. It is essential for materialistic people to accept Diksha. When one chants the Krishna mantra, Siddha, Sadhya, Sushiddha, Ari are not considered.
This Siddha, Sadhya,
Sushidha, Ari.
Ari, this is a analytical appreciation of the vibration of the candidate for Diksha mantras. It's an ancient science, and the guru can actually appreciate the qualification of the shishya by examining according to this principle.
Siddha, Sadhya,
But
Sushidha.
Nam is not
Beyond this.
contained within that. This is the point that he's made. It's not smarter in any way. It's beyond caste system. It must be. Where was the caste system manifested? Here, in this material realm. They don't have caste system across the Viraja River.
Even Varnashram, it came after some yugas, no Maharaj.
Came in Treta Yuga.
Before that, there was no
No,
Varnashram.
in Satya Yuga there was no need for Varnashram. Everything was perfect in the civilization. Perfect for what? Perfect for attaining that Aishwarya form of Krishna.
Initiation into the exclusive chanting of the Krishna mantra is extremely beneficial for the jiva.
This is saying Krishna mantra, when it says like that, it means like the Gayatri mantra.
For all the different mantras in the world, the Krishna mantra is the most powerful.
Oh no, maybe it's not.
Gopal.
Wait, it'll be revealed what it's saying.
A bona fide disciple
Because he's talking about Diksha. This is the topic. So these Diksha mantras, they won't take us across the Viraja River. They won't take us into transcendence, but they will support our chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. That is what they will do. But they won't, you don't chant Diksha mantras in the spiritual realm. That's not necessary. Already your Swarup is revealed and your Seva is revealed. There's no need to chant Diksha mantras. But to chant the Hare Krishna mantra, that can manifest in the spiritual worlds. So this is referring to the Gayatri mantras. Yes, that's what I thought.
A bona fide disciple receives strength from Krishna immediately when a bona fide spiritual master initiates him into this mantra.
Yes, that's why Guru will initiate the disciple with Diksha mantras.
After initiation, Gurudev educates the inquiring disciple concerning the performance of Archan.
Inquiring disciple. That means the disciple has to inquire. If the disciple's just sitting like a stone and not saying anything, Guru's not going to approach him for that. There has to be some relationship. The Shishya, the Sadhak, he has to take the initiative also. It's like any type of relationship, sambandha. It means you have to inquire. If you don't inquire, then, how is your brain working? Always, if we're studying and reading and chanting, we will always have questions. There will always be questions ready. My Gurudev used to say like this all the time. You should always have 4 or 5 questions in your pocket. Every time you see me, you should have some questions. Otherwise, I'm thinking you're not studying, you're not reading, you're not actually inquiring. So the inquiring, where does it say? The inquiring disciple concerning the performance of Archan. So these mantras are specifically, their utility is for performing external Archan. These mantras are external, and they're for the purificatory process of Archan, which is separate from Bhajan. Bhajan is internal, the Archan is external.
Briefly, Archan Marg includes the observance of Krishna's appearance day, fasting in Kartik month, observing Ekadashi, taking bath in the month of Magh, and other such activities.
All very auspicious activities. And Krishna says in the 11th canto, Uddhava asked him, how can one perform devotional service in this world? And Krishna responds, he says, by celebrating all my festivals regularly, by talking about my pastimes. But these still, nevertheless, they are in the category of Archan, which is different from the category of Bhajan. But still, we appreciate that fully, of course. That's
fasting in Kartik.
Huh?
Fasting in Kartik.
Fasting in Kartik, yes. There's many fasts in Kartik. Chaturmasya, yes. Yes, 4 months of Kartik.
One should also understand that one must certainly worship Krishna's Bhakta as well as Krishna himself on the path of Archan.
Yes, always Krishna's Bhaktas has to be honored. Always Sadhu Sangha. If we have great respect for Krishna's Bhaktas, then success only. Aham Bhakta Paradino Yashvatantra Idvadvija. Krishna is instructing Durvasa. My Bhaktas are as close to my heart as my heart itself.
Maharaj, will bhajan be explained in further chapters?
Of course, 22nd chapter.
The 6th anga of...
Actually, the bhajan is supposed to be absorbed by the content of these chapters. If you are, if bhav bhakti is your priority to appreciate that, then All of these chapters are going to give you inspiration into that. It's nothing lacking to hear these different
Hmm.
initial explanations. It's all part of the process, and it will all strengthen our internal vision because it's the inspiration to hear about Krishna's pastimes internally.
The sixth anga of Vaidhi Bhakti is offering prayers and obeisances, Vandanam. This is included as part of Pada Seva and Kirtan, but it is still considered a separate anga of Bhakti. Namaskara itself is also called Vandanam. Eka Namaskara and paying obeisances with 8 parts of the body touching the ground, Ashtanga Namaskara, are two types of Namaskara. It is considered offensive to offer obeisances only with one hand touching the ground.
Remember these things.
To, to offer obeisances when the body is covered with cloth, to offer obeisances behind the deity.
What does that mean? To offer the obeisances when the body is covered? We're always covered with cloth.
I wanted to ask.
I think the conception is to Sharanagat. You can take it. I would appreciate this in that way. I would think that when I'm offering obeisances, I'm offering my whole self, whatever I've got on my body, but internally, I'm offering my whole self. These are real obeisances. If it's just ritualistic formality and you're doing it out of fear of everybody watching you and what they're going to think and like that, then that's not real heartfelt obeisances. But when I'm offering full Sharanagat obeisance, but it doesn't say that, so that's just my own understanding of that. But anyway, we'll go on if
To
someone else.
offer prostrated obeisances with the body pointing directly towards the deity
Yeah.
or with the right side towards the deity, and to offer obeisances in the Garbha Mandira, deity room.
We offer obeisances
Left.
always with the left, with the heart actually facing the deity.
Performing service, Dasyam, is the seventh anga of Bhakti. I am Krishna's servant. This ego or conception of the self is Dasyam. And bhajan performed with the sentiment of a servant is the topmost bhajan.
Always in Mahaprabhu's Leela, all were in Dasyaras. All were serving Mahaprabhu in Dasyaras. No one was serving Mahaprabhu in
Sakya.
no, or Vatsalya, well, his mother, of course, Sachi Devi, but she had a mood of total reverential mood towards her son also, even though it was affectionate, but it's still of a dasya mood because Gadadhar is there. And sometimes, Sahajiyas, they interpret this differently. But this mood of dasya was performed by all the parakars towards Mahaprabhu.
Dasyam includes offering obeisances, reciting prayers, offering all of one's activities, serving, keeping proper conduct, remembering and obeying orders.
All,
Katha Shravanam.
all the way through, the proper behavior is going to be um, uh, put prominently. Without the external behavior, then Sahajiyism, all types of other negative things can actually manifest. The proper Maryad has to be there externally. Raghunath Das Goswami is our Prayojan Acharya, and it's described that the lines in his forehead, like the rules and regulations, were like carved in stone within him. And I've mentioned before the same with my Gurudev. Internally, he was always in a state of high bhajan, and he would reveal that many times in his classes, etc. Many times the veil would be pulled back and he would take us into Vrindavan directly. But his external behavior never dropped one iota from Maryad, etiquette, to behavior of Vaishnava.
The eighth anga of bhakti is serving as friend, Sakyam, which includes the mood of kinship towards Krishna with the endeavors for his well being. There are two kinds of Sakyam, friendship in Vaidhi Bhakti and friendship in Raganuga Bhakti.
Don't forget this. Yes. Very important point.
But Sri Prahalad's shloka refers to Vaidhanga Sakyam. For example, the feeling of Sakyam while serving the deity is Vaida Sakyam. The ninth Anga is known as Atmanivedana, which means offering the whole self, body, mind, and pure Atma to Sri Krishna. The characteristics of Atmanivedana are exclusive endeavor for Krishna, the lack of activity for one's own self interest. It is also characteristic of Atmanivedana that one lives to serve the desire of Krishna and keeps one's own desire subordinate to Krishna's desire, just as a cow that has been purchased does not care for its own maintenance.
So this depends on education of the sadhak to know what is Krishna's desire. Some sadhaks will consider, oh, Krishna's desire is that I surrender, that I surrender. Surrender is not even really in the realm of bhakti. It's on the threshold of bhakti. It doesn't actually enter into the world of bhakti. It's required to enter into the world of bhakti. Without Sharanagati, you can't enter into the world of bhakti. But surrender by itself is about what? It's about me surrendering. The focus, the spotlight is on me, not Krishna. So that's the initial. And then how am I going to serve and please Krishna? If I'm just considering in Vaidhi consideration, then it's a particular formula, so to speak. But then if I hear about Vrindavan and the Vrindavan pastimes, and if I immerse myself in the 10th canto, then some change can come. And actually, I want to please Krishna in Vrindavan. This is much more. This is what Mahaprabhu has actually, Rag Mag Bhakti Loke Karite Prajan. He's come to give this. This is actually what he's come to give for. But out of fear, we don't go there. Out of fear of popular opinion, we actually just try and dull that idea down and just follow the path of Vaidhi Bhakti.
Atmanived
Fear dominates Vaidhi.
rules and fear.
Rules and regulations. That's a sense of fear, doing my duty. There's a fearful aspect to that. But Ragmarg is beyond that, fearless.
Atmanivedanam in Vaidhi Bhakti is described in Srimad Bhagavatam 9.4.18 to 20 as
This
follows.
is by Ambarish Maharaj.
Savai mana Krishna padaravindayor vachamsi vaikunta gunanu varnane karo harer mandira marjanadhishu shrutim chakrachyuta sat katodaye. Ambarish Maharaj engaged his mind in serving the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. His words in describing the qualities of Sri Bhagavan, his hands in cleaning Sri Hari's temple, and his ears in hearing Achyuta's blissful pastimes.
This very famous verse, very important verse. Yes.
Mukunda lingalaya darshana darshau tadbritya gatra sparshenanga sangamam. Granam cha tatpada saroja saurabhe Srimat Tulsyam rasanam tad arpithe. He engaged his eyes in seeing the deity of Mukunda, different temples, and the holy places, all his bodily limbs in touching the bodies of Krishna's bhaktas, his nostrils in smelling the divine smell of tulsi offered to Krishna's lotus feet, and his tongue in tasting the prasad offered to Bhagavan.
This is all Atmanivedana. This is all full Sharanagat. Full Sharanagat.
Pado hare kshetra padanus sarpane siro rishikesha padabhivandane kamam cha dasya natu kama kamya yatotma shloka janasya ratihi. His feet were always engaged in walking to Bhagwan's holy places, and he would pay obeisances to Sri Krishna's lotus feet. Ambarish Maharaj would offer garlands, sandal, bhog, and similar paraphernalia in Bhagwan's service, not with the desire to enjoy himself, but to receive the love for Sri Krishna that is present only in his Shuddha Bhaktas.
Ambarish Maharaj is an example of a Shuddha Bhakta. The first example in the progression of 5 is Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj is a Siddha. He's a realized siddha. But his bhakti is described in the realm of gyan, because he saw the
Shantaras.
Shantaras, yes, he saw the beauty of Krishna from an Aishwarya aspect. But Ambarish Maharaj performed his tapasya in Mahavan or Madhuvan and in Vrindavan, his Ekadashi brats, etc. So he was seeing Krishna with a much more rasik viewpoint. But he was a sadhak, but he was a Shuddha Bhakta. He was not a Siddha. He's a Shuddha Bhakta. So there's a distinction there. Even though Prahlad is a Siddha, he's a realized soul, but his degree of bhakti is considered by Sanatana Goswami when he in his Brihat Bhagavatamrita as being somewhat less to Ambarish Maharaj. And then above Ambarish is Hanuman, and then the Pandavas, and then Uddhav, like that. That's the progression, and then the gopis, etc. Okay.
Manoj, do we have any terminology for Prahalad like Ambarish is Shuddha Bhakta?
Gyani Bhakta.
Gyani.
That means not, that means Gyani Bhakta. The word Bhakta has to be there. If you say Gyani, that means looking to moksha. But Gyani Bhakta means like Bhishma Dev was also a Gyani Bhakta. They saw the Lord with full appreciation of his opulence, his absolute opulence. I want to try and finish this today. So what is the question?
We have Anukulyasi Sankalpa, Pratikulyasi Varjana.
Yes. Rakshisyadi Vasisha.
This Atmanikshepa,
Atmanivedana.
It is Atmanivedana.
Yes. It's at the end. It's all of these symptoms are embodied in the end.
So sometimes I hear from devotees it is the same. Atmanikshepa, Atmanivedana.
Yes, same. Yes. Atmanishkepa, Atmanivedam. It's full surrender. This is what it means, full surrender. That's the embodiment of all those five Anukulyasya Sankalpa, Pratikulyasya Varjanam, Rasisisyati Vishwasya, Gopritva Varnam, Atmanishkepa, Karpanya, Sadvidi, Sharanagati. So it's all combined together. Please, Shanti. Go ahead.
When Vijay Kumar and Rajanath heard Babaji Mahashay's very sweet and blissful instructions, they were overwhelmed with joy and offered obeisances to him, saying, Prabhu, you are directly Bhagwan's personal associate.
He is.
We are both blessed today by receiving your nectarian instructions. We were wasting our days in the useless pride of caste, family, and high education. By dint of the wealth of Sukriti accumulated in many previous lifetimes, we have obtained your mercy.
Yes, it's an important point that it's by the Sukriti of many lifetimes, not only gain the association, but can appreciate what the gifts of the association are. We might come into contact with so many sadgurus, but are we able to appreciate the gifts that they're giving? That requires the Sukriti.
Vijay, O most eminent of Bhagavats, Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur ordered me to visit the Yogapeeth at Sri Mayapur. By his mercy, today I took darshan of that holy place, and also of personal associate of Sri Bhagavan. If you will be so kind, I will come again tomorrow evening. When the elderly Babaji heard Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur's name, he immediately offered prostrated dandavats and said, I offer my respectful obeisances again and again to the incarnation of Vyasadev in Sri Chaitanya's pastime. Since it had become quite late in the morning, Brajanath and Vijay Kumar then departed for Brajanath's home.
When the pure devotees or the mature devotees, they hear the name, just the name of any exalted personality like Vrindavan Das Thakur, what happens? The whole of the Chaitanya Bhagavat will begin to manifest in their consciousness. All of the different pastimes. If we say Krishnadas Kaviraj, all of Chaitanya Charitamrita will begin to bloom in the consciousness of the sadhak. If we say Vyasadev, all of Srimad Bhagavatam. So these names are essential to honor and glorify. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, every point that Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying has weight, it has potency. So we've completed the chapter. There are, we can begin, because on Monday I would like to start the 20th chapter, but we can look at these beautiful
Footnotes.
footnotes that are at the end. So basically there's the verse, Kriti Sadhya Bhavat Sadhya Bhav Sadanabhida, Nitya Siddhyasya Bhavasya Prakatam Niti Sadhyate. And then sadhan bhakti, or the regulative discharge of devotional service, is a practice performed with the present senses, by which bhav, transcendental loving service to Krishna, is attained. This is the second stage. This is after Anyabilasita Shunyam. Then it's this verse. So these two are in sequence. This is why it's mentioned here. This bhav exists eternally within the heart of every jiva, and it is the potentiality of sadhan bhakti to awaken it. So this verse is critical. This verse is as important as Anyabalasithasanya. Read the next verse. Shravanadi.
Shravanadi Kriya Tara Swarup Lakshan Tatastha Lakshane Upajaya Premadan Nitya Siddhya Krishna Prem Sadhya Kabu Nai Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Karai Udai.
So important. Read the
The
translation.
intrinsic characteristic of bhajan are the spiritual activities of hearing, chanting, remembering, and so on. Its marginal characteristic is that it awakens Krishna Prem. Krishna Prem is eternally established in the hearts of all
This is the
jivas.
second part of the verse.
It is not something to be gained from another source. This love naturally awakens when the heart is purified by hearing and chanting.
So this is such an important verse, and my Gurudev has included this in the footnote. It's only Gurudev's footnotes that are here. When we were publishing this, there was many other personalities had put in footnotes, and my Gurudev said, no, take them all out, every single one, except his. So we just left his footnotes in. So this is this Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem Sadhya Kabunai Shravanadi Shuddha Chitta Korya Udai. This is the Krishna Prem, the eternally established in the hearts of all jivas. It's already there in the heart. There's no extraneous effort. So, well, there's effort to uncover it. We're simply trying to uncover what's already there. It's not going to come something from another source, but the uncovering process will come from a Shuddha Bhakta. It'll start in the consciousness from the Sangvit Shakti. And the Sangvit Shakti, when it descends in the heart, mixes with the Hladini Shakti. And at that time, realization, because it's realization we want of these truths. We can hear these truths, but we're only concerned for the realization of these truths. That'll come through our practice, our personal, internal practice, while we're chanting, etc. That's when the realization will come. Continual. So we have not much time left. So I think everyone watching, you can read for yourselves the pastime of Gajendra. Actually, let's just read Gajendra because it's so beautiful. We'll read Gajendra.
Gajendra is an example of a person in distress. Artha. The following pastime took place during the fourth Manvantra. An elephant called Gajendra was the leader of many strong elephants, and he lived with many she elephants in the deep jungle in the valley of Trikuta, the king of mountains. In the valley was a large, beautiful, and inviting lake, and one day Gajendra was fearlessly absorbed in sporting in the lake with his female elephants and children. All of a sudden, a powerful crocodile angrily caught hold of his leg. Gajendra used all his strength to try to free himself, but the mighty elephant could not get free, even after struggling for 1,000 years. Slowly, Gajendra began to lose strength. When he saw that he had no other protection, he took complete and exclusive shelter of Sri Bhagavan.
Hopefully, we will take shelter before things become extreme. If we take shelter while we're fit and healthy, many times people take shelter in the last 10 minutes of their lives, but that's not really sufficient. to really create a good sambandha with the Lord. It's very limited. But if you take that shelter now and consider now it's an urgency, now it's extreme, now I must do it, rather than wait until the very last breath of our life to actually do that, then we'll have more chance of success.
In great distress, he began to chant eloquent Sanskrit shlokas that he had learned in his previous birth as King Indradyumna. Sri Bhagavan arrived there riding on Garuda and freed Gajendra by cutting open the crocodile's mouth with his chakra. In his previous life, Gajendra had been King Indradyumna, ruler of the state of Dravida and a member of the Pandava dynasty. Once Maharshi Agastya came to visit Indradyumna, but when he arrived there, the king was worshipping Sri Bhagavan in deep trance and therefore could not greet the rishi. Due to this offense, Maharshi Agastya cursed the king to take birth as an elephant.
Okay. So I think we might stop here, but these are very nice footnotes at the end here. You can all read by yourselves so that we can start on Monday on chapter 20. So thank you so much for all your time, and I hope some deeper appreciation has manifested in all of your hearts from today. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai,
Jai.
Jaiva Dharma ki jai.
Jai.
I just want to express my gratitude to the Chinese and Hong Kong devotees. Today I got the electric backup, which will mean that we don't have to sit in darkness when the power goes. So I've made all the external arrangements with 2 backups on the Wi-Fi, but still you can't guarantee success because Krishna always has his plan. The Wi-Fi can cut, but everything else I think we've done. If anyone has any other suggestions, please send them through. I'm all ears to make our technological presentation as perfect as is conceivable. So thank you. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhavevacha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namaha.